Hey everybody, MTG Orzo here with a deck tech for a general that is probably pretty bad. I was thinking to myself, Orzo, you've played two really good decks in a row. It's been a while since you got your ass beat. That should change. So, with this deck, I hope that will change. So we are playing Munda, Ambush Leader, the legendary creature core ally from Battle for Zendikar. So this is a red-white ally deck. So not only are we playing the worst two colors in EDH, we are also playing a gimmick red-white deck, and that gimmick is allies. So let's go over Munda, Ambush Leader. He is a 3/4 for 4, 2, a red and a white, gets you a hasty core ally with Rally. Whenever Munda or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may look at the top 4 cards of your library. If you do, reveal any number of ally cards from among them, then put those cards on the top of your library in any order and the rest on the bottom in any order. So, what that means is that when we play him, we play all our other allies, we get to sift the top cards of our libraries for more allies to trigger more and more stuff. So red and white have a lot of allies, and I think I'm running most of them. Like even the ones, I think I'm running 1 or 2 that don't actually do anything, but I'm running most of the allies. So, one sec. You guys kind of know how this goes. I'm going to go over the cards. I'm going to go talk about the deck theory. And we're going to run it through some games. So, to start out, we'll start with our lands. And our first land is a very new land from Battle for Zendikar, Ally Encampment. You can add 1 to your mana pool, or add 1 mana of any color if you cast an ally. And you can sacrifice it to return out an ally you control to its owner's hand. So, in the few games I've played with it, I've never really used the bottom ability, but it's a second command tower basically in this deck, and it still taps for mana if not. Ancient Tomb, standard. Battlefield Forge, dual land, fetch land, bounce land, guild gate, check land, command tower, exotic orchard. Just a lot of fixing up here, because I really would hate to be stuck with a bunch of red and have white spells or vice versa. We've got some Battle for Zendikar lands, we've got mountains, and we've got plains. Down here, yeah, we've got Plateau and Sacred Foundry, our duels and shocks. We've also got Slayer Stronghold from Avacyn Restored. Just a neat little buff land. We've got Strip Mine for dealing with stuff. We've got Sunhome from Ravnica, which gives something double strike, which is relevant, and our Scryland. So very complete mana base. I think I'm really only missing the filter land in my red-white colors, but those are expensive for some reason. So let's go on. 0 mana, we have Mana Crypt. We have Soul Ring. Those go in decks. You should put them in there. So 1 drops. We've got Brave the Elements as a way to give all of our creatures protection from a color. It's got very cool art. Just push through damage. Cliffside Lookout is our first ally for Battle for Zendikar at 1/1 for 1, and you can pay 5 to give all your creatures +1/+1. It's pretty bad, but it's a 1-drop ally, so it can trigger our other allies. And it can also, if you have enough mana, can power them up. We've got Expedition Envoy, another one for Battle for Zendikar, 2/1 for 1. No other abilities. It's a elite vanguard ally. Hat of Freeblade is a 0/1 for 1. When an ally enters the battlefield or it enters the battlefield, you may put a 1/1 counter on it. Path to Exile and Swords, you know what those do. Removal. Lightning Bolt is also removal in this deck, just because we need ways to get rid of tiny dudes to get our dudes through. Skull Clamp. We've got a lot of 1/1s that can be turned into card draw. Alright, 2 drops. Core Blade Whirl, 2/2 for 2 bear ally with Rally. Whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain first strike. Ondu Cleric, This one's pretty good. From original Zendikar, it's a 1/1 for 2, and when it or another ally enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to the number of allies you control. So it's a good way to stabilize against aggro. Kazandu Blademaster, a 1/1 for 2, first strike vigilance. When it or another ally enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. Akum Battle Singer, when it enters the battlefield or another ally creatures get +1/+0, and it has haste from World Wake. Highland Berserker, ally creatures gain first strike until end of turn. I'm going to skip the first part because it's really annoying to say. Reckless Cohort is, weird. It attacks every turn unless you have another ally, but it is a bear ally. It's a 2/2 for 2. Boros Charm is value. You should run it in every red-white deck. It just does so much. Burn, Indestructible, Double Strike seems really good. Mana Fixing, Signets, and Diamonds. Sword of the Animist, new card from Origins. It's a way to get lands out of your deck while also giving you a boost. And Umezawa's Jitte as just a way to kill tiny dudes and generally do Jitte things. I'm hurrying to get this done before work, so I'm also trying to finish the booze that I had before work, similarly. Kabira Evangel. Allies you control gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. Very good way to push through damage, and pretty cool art as well. Lantern Scout. Allies you control gain lifelink until end of turn. This was kind of a really hyped card when it was spoiled for Battle for Zendikar, and it's a really good way to get that aggro to, help you for the long game. And it's a 3/2 for 3, so it's not bad. Also, compared to this, like, these are the same colors, but I find this is very uninspired art compared to this. This says a lot. This doesn't say a lot. Creatures you control gain vigilance. So with Rally, I believe the difference is that Rally affects everything you control. So the Rally dudes will give all my creatures vigilance, because I do run some non-allies. This Mirror Entity is an ally. You know what it does. It is an ally. Oh, excuse me. Ajani gives our dudes counters. Also can push through damage. He's just a good solid early white planeswalker. Hallowed Spirit Keeper is not an ally, but when he dies, you put X 1/1 spirit tokens into play, or X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So he's great like Wrath Insurance, because this deck is very Wrath disrupted. Firemantle Mage. Creatures you control gain menace. Can't be blocked by 2 or more creatures. New keyword from Origins. Retreat to Valakut. New Battle for Zendikar card. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, choose 1. Target creature gets +2/+0, or target creature can't block. So both very aggro for our aggro deck. Wheel of Fortune gets us cards back. Ajani Steadfast, other Ajani. I don't actually have the red-white Ajani in here, and he should probably be in here, but I haven't bought him because I don't have a deck for him yet. So maybe you'll see him in later videos. But this, you can +1, up to 1 target creature gains +1/+1, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink, which is good. -2 is good if you have some other planeswalkers and a bunch of dudes, and -7 is just kind of backbreaking. Join the ranks. Put 2 white soldier ally creatures onto the battlefield. Instant speed's pretty good. Retreat to Emeria. Landfall. Choose 1. Put a 1/1 core ally creature token into play, which triggers all our other allies, or creatures you control get +1. So this is very good with Sword of the Animist, and I guess so is Retreat to Valakut, but more so Retreat to Emeria. It just does so much. It does pretty much everything you want it to in an ally deck. Makes your dudes bigger. When it enters the battlefield, allies you control gain lifelink, and you put a 1/1 counter on the Paladin. Very cool. Unified Front. Usually you put 2 white ally soldiers into play, or core allies into play, but it can be 1, so this is much worse than the other one. Join the ranks. Elspeth, because it's Elspeth and she's really good. Hero of Bladehold, similarly very good in an aggro deck. Battlecry is good, giving you extra dudes is good. Return to Dust gets rid of enchantments and artifacts up to 2, usually 2. Usually rarely cast this for 1. Chasm Guide, allies you control gain haste. Tuk Tuk Scrapper, when destroy target artifact when it enters the battlefield or another ally, and it deals damage to that artifact's controller equal to the number of allies you control, so that can get out of hand. Hero of Oxid Ridge also has Battle Cry and haste, like Hero of Bladehold, and creatures with power 1 or less can't block. Enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample, pretty cool. Iroas. Creatures you control have menace, prevent all damage that will be dealt to attacking creatures you control. Very good for an aggro deck. Hero of Goma Fed. Ally creatures you control gain indestructible, or all creatures you creatures you control gain indestructible this turn until end of turn. It's rally. 4/3 for 5. Pretty cool. Core Entangler. When it or another ally enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. Revel Art gets back tiny dudes. Angelic Overseer, as long as you control a human, it's indestructible and has hexproof. And this is just because I fucking had one. I love this card. I love the art on this card, and I haven't had a place to put it yet, so I'm putting it here. Like, I don't have that many allies, but when I do, damn it, it's gonna be good. Like, this could be Baneslayer Angel, but it's not. Gideon. Not the new Gideon, because he's like $40, but this Gideon. He does Gideon things. Put a 1/1 counter on each ally you control for every ally that comes into play. Kikijiki doubles our allies. Seems pretty good. Angelic Captain. Rare from Battle for Zendikar. When it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other attacking ally, so it can get huge. Resolute Blade Master. Creatures you control get double strike, so that's very good. Just pushing damage through. Balefire Liege. Your red and white creatures get +1/+1. If they're both, they get +2/+2. And when you cast a red spell, Lightning Bolt. When you cast a white spell, you Healing Solve. And when you cast both, you Lightning Helix. And so it's pretty good. It's a Spirit Horror. Coat of Arms usually just says, you win the game. If they don't also play Tribal, you just sort of vomit power and toughness. Soul of Theros gives your guys +2/+2 first strike and lifelink, and you can do it from the graveyard as well. He's also just a 6/6 vigilance, huge dude. Sun Titan is also a 6/6 vigilance, huge dude that does Sun Titan things. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you can return target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less. It's very good. Gets back our allies as well. Admonition Angel. Landfall, exile another non-land permanent other than Admonition Angel. When she leaves, return them all to play. So you can get rid of one of your allies if you desperately need another ally trigger. It's just some secret tech. You can remove her. True Conviction gives all your dudes double strike and lifelink. It's also, even though it's from Mirrodin, it's also very flavorful for them. Deals, whenever it or another ally, it deals damage equal to target creature equal to the number of allies you control. So you can just sort of like soft wrath the field if you have a bunch of allies out. He has a 3/2 for 6, which isn't nice, but we don't get to be picky in allies. Aurelia, Flying Vigilance Haste, the red-white commander of choice. When it attacks, untap all creatures. There is another combat phase after that one. Over here, do we have much besides? Yeah, okay. So we've got Gisela, Flying First Strike 5/5 for 7. Source would deal damage to an opponent. Or permanent an opponent controls. It deals double that damage, and if a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half of that damage. So if you can get Gisela out, you're going to get damage through, and your guys are going to be harder to kill. And it's a good card. It's a good card. And then we got some X spells. We've got Return to the Ranks, Convoke, return X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that gets back all of our little dudes over here. Like there's like 7 or 8 targets, which is pretty good. Comet Storm, instant speed fireball variant with relevant art. It's pretty good. This deck's fun. Like it's fun to play, but we'll get our ass kicked 1v1, and that's kind of the point. Sometimes you need to play fun decks and get your teeth kicked in just for variance. So I will be leading Munda Ambush Leader to ambush some unsuspecting better decks very soon. Hope you guys check that out.